Hi, and welcome to Forrest.Chat Soapbox. My name's Paul Vandermeer, and I'm going to be taking you through an overview of the local government elections in the Electorate of Forrest. Thanks for joining me. First of all, I want to cover just why I'm doing this. As a new resident in the Shire of Harvey for the 2023 local government elections, I had absolutely no idea of who the candidates were or what they stood for. And that was not very good. The minimal coverage provided in the candidate statements and the newspaper really didn't go past an elevator pitch, and I wanted more. I wanted to know something about the candidates, to know if they were of a similar mind to me and what they intended to do beyond the broad statements that they could put into their statements that they wrote down for the Electoral Commission. And I wanted to make informed choices. And with the increasing population in this part of WA, there'll be others who also have questions about the candidates for their local government area. And that's a big part of why I'm doing this as well. My real interest lies at the federal level, and that's why I'm doing this for the 6 local governments within the federal electorate of Forrest. So why on earth would you even want to vote in the local government elections? It's a pretty good question. People think that they've not had enough say in what's going on, but the local governments actually have a role defined in the Local Government Act, and in there's a few good reasons why you would want to be voting. So first of all, the council itself oversees the allocation of local government finance and resources. Now, you're putting money into that through your rates and other fees and charges that the local government charges. So it's about good fiscal management. So you want to vote to make sure that there are people there who are going to look after fiscal management of your shire, both the financial and for the resourcing. So the council also determines the local government policies, and these have a big saying on what you're able to actually do within your electorate around your home and those sorts of things. Also how they spend the money. The aspect of planning strategically for the future of the district, that can make a massive difference. If you've got the right people on board, then your electorate goes ahead in leaps and bounds. If you've got people who are not thinking strategically, then that could mean that your area basically goes backwards, especially compared to your neighbouring electorates. The council also determines the services and facilities to be provided to you as the person who would be electing them, and also paying rates and that sort of thing. And even if you're renting a property, you still end up contributing to the rates in some way. Even if you don't pay them directly yourself, the owner of the land will be paying them. And there's a couple of other elements, like selecting the CEO and reviewing their performance. So the CEO has a specific set of duties. They run the staff and operations of the Shire, and you need to have the right person there, and the council is the one who, or is the body that chooses and ensures that that's actually being done. And then the council also provides strategic direction to the CEO, and that can make a big difference in what the Shire actually does, and particularly what it spends its money on. So there's some pretty good reasons there. Then as councillors themselves, they also have a number of rules. I might just make that a tad smaller. Okay, so this comes out of the same Act under a different clause. But the councillor represents the interest of the electors. So these are the people who are actually talking for you as a ratepayer or a resident in the district. And they need to take into account your interests and the interests of other people who work in or visit the district. That's a pretty big role. They're effectively representing you. So you want to make sure that the people who are representing you actually have some idea of what you like, what you want out of what's going on in the Shire. The councillor will also participate in deliberation and decision making. So they're important parts of the process. So that deliberation is all the discussion that they have, and decision making seems to happen at the meetings that they have. The councillors also facilitate communication with the community about council decisions. So you want to be comfortable that the people that you elect are going to actually have the skills to do that. And then they facilitate and maintain good working relationships with other councillors, the Mayor and the CEO. So Mayor or President and the CEO. So those are all very good reasons why you would want to vote in the election, because it's the only time you're going to have an opportunity to have a say in these areas. Now, Forrest.Chat/Soapbox is all about the Electorate of Forrest. So I've got some summaries here of what's going on amongst the various shires. There are 6 shires. And I'll make this one a little bigger. So in the Shire of Harvey, there are 4 vacancies for councillors and about 22,000 voters. Now, there are 11 people who have put their hand up that they've nominated, and 5 of those are already councillors. And you can see that there are 4 councillors that are actually needed. So good bit of competition there. You've almost got 3 options for each seat on council in Harvey. Pretty close. In the Shire of Dardanup, you've got 6 vacancies for councillors, and you see 5 of those go through to 2029, and one of them just goes through to 2027, and about 11,000 voters. The reason there are different terms is because basically half the council changes every 2nd year. So you vote people in generally for a 4-year term. However, if one of the people decides to pull out at 2 years or inside the 2 years, then their position will also come up, but their expiry date does not change. So here we've got 12 people have put their hands up. The Shire President is also one of those people that has put their hand up. And 3 of those are already on council. So they're going to need 6. That means 3 new people. And for every position on council, you've got 2 people to choose from. Heading on to the City of Bunbury. City of Bunbury has effectively 2 elections going on. It's got an election for the Mayor as an individual position, and then it has 4 councillors that are available as seats. Now, the numbers don't add up necessarily here, simply because they're all in the one list. So of those 14 people, 3 of them are standing for the Mayor's position, and all 3 of those people are currently councillors within the City of Bunbury, and 2 of those have decided to also run for the council election. So if they get the mayor's position, that one would be the primary position, and then the councillor positions will be available to other people who get voted in. Excuse me. So the current mayor, Jason Miguel, he's actually only put his hand up for the mayoral position, and then there are two others who have put it up for either the mayor or a councillor. So they're quite within their rights to do that. But what that means is that there are 3 people going for the mayor, and there are 13 people going for councillor positions. And there are 4 council positions available. And there are 6 people who are already on council going for those positions. So that sounds like the number of positions is reducing in that council. But when you've got 13 for 4, then you've got about 3 people for each position. Then in the Shire of Capel, they're looking for 4 councillors, and they've got about 13,500 electors. 7 people have put their hand up, and 2 of those are existing councillors. So there's a very high chance that you'll have new councillors in Capel. In the City of Busselton will be hotly contested. There are 5 councillor vacancies, and you can see 4 of those go out to 2029 and just 1 to 2027. So again, someone with that earlier expiry date on their term has decided not to be there for this election. There's about 33,500 electors, and there are 19 people who are standing for positions. So it's almost 4 candidates for each council position. And there are 4 existing councillors amongst those numbers. So that'll be a very, very hotly contested election in Busselton. In Augusta Margaret River, they're looking for 5 councillors. 4 expire in 29 and 1 in 2027, and about 13,500 electors. So there are 11 people who've put their hand up, and only 2 of those are current councillors. That means there will definitely be new councillors on board in Augusta Margaret River, and about 2 candidates for each seat that's available, each council seat that's available. So I'm doing some interviews with the candidates from various electorates. I am making the offer to do this available to every candidate. There are 74 in total. All except 2 have been invited at this stage, and those 2 I'll need to post out to them because I only have postal addresses for them. So what we have here I want to find exactly what we hope to learn through these interviews from these particular candidates. So I want to find out about their motivation, so I'll be asking them what led to you choosing to become a candidate. And that's fairly straightforward. They'll have their story. We will also ask them to give us an elevator pitch, but we'll also ask about their capability and what they think makes them a great candidate. And some of the subsidiary things we might ask or look at there are their current involvement with the council. Are they a councillor, so they know the processes and those sorts of things, or Have they been getting involved in some way? Have they some skills in financial management capability? So are they able to assess financial reports and those sorts of things? And do they have any relationship building capability? So what is it about them that makes them a great candidate? So I'll be asking those questions. Then we want to know how they think about common local government questions that come up. So we have some scenarios, and the question is, what do you see as the council's role and what drives your voting position? To give them an idea or to give you as an elector an idea of how they will go about their business. So one of those situations will be a newly proposed high-density development that impacts amenity for residents in an existing low-density estate. So someone's coming in and they want to build something that a lot of people are going to come and live in, much closer density than what has been there in the past. That is a fairly regular occurrence and happening in the Shire of Harvey at the moment. Restricting dog access to parks and beaches. So in Bustleton at the moment, there's talk about what will happen with dog access at beaches. Here, several local businesses apply to extend sidewalk dining areas. This one is about economic development within the Shire and how free and open the candidates are to allowing those sorts of things. And the last one, a sporting group that leases council-owned facilities applies for funding to expand their kitchen and dining facilities to a commercial grade. Again, this has happened in the Shire of Harvey recently, and it's about how do you deal with local community groups and what they provide to the community. So it gives people an idea of what you see as a council's role and what will drive your voting position. We then want to go on and have a look at how strategic they are as a councillor. So the question posed is, the Shire seeks to increase economic activity within its borders. How do you propose for the Shire or city to facilitate the growth? So what can the city do? And you'll see I've got a little rider there. We'll talk about how you're going to fund it next. But the Shire has a number of things that it can do. And in this question, we want to find out what the candidate thinks about how the economy within the Shire or city can actually be improved. And amongst that, we might look at what characteristics of the Shire or city do they see can contribute to economic welfare of the Shire or city. And the other one is, where does the economic growth come from? Like, who creates it? And that one will allow them to expand on who's actually going to be doing the work here and what sort of businesses will they be, or is it just handouts from the Shire, or what are we talking about here? So it'll be interesting to see how they respond to that. Then, to get an understanding of how practical they are, the question will be, how will you propose to raise or increase the Shire or city funding to implement your proposed economic growth? So what ideas do they have that they showed in the previous question? Now, how are they going to actually make that work from a funding perspective? So here it's, what is it about your proposal that will attract the funding needed to support this initiative? And how challenging will it be to attain your funding goal? and what are the chances of success. So this is how practical they are in actually being able to work out where the money will come from and just how good a case that they've put up for it. From there, we want to then see how aligned their thinking is with your thinking. So I'll ask what is their position on, and then we've got a number of different areas, and these I anticipate will be answered with simple yes, I'm on board, or no, I'm not. So talk about drag queen story time in our libraries. Do they want that or not? Welcome to or acknowledgement of country. How do they see that? Do they want them or not? The biasing of purchases towards local businesses. In other words, favouring local business in preference to people or businesses outside of the Shire boundary. And the Shire buying or selling land or property within the Shire. So they in favour of the Shire buying things up, or are they in favour of the Shire divesting those off into private ownership, probably? So what's their stance on that? And the other one is when the evidence presented is not the full story. One element of what councillors are supposed to do is to use evidence. But evidence is not always available for everything that you want to actually look at. So what happens when the evidence runs out or doesn't cover it? Do they even realise it doesn't cover it? An example might be where there's a process of culling livestock in order to protect the overall flock numbers or something like that because of a disease, as an example. And there might be plenty of evidence about the disease, but where's the economic evidence? Have they thought about it? What will it mean? And how do you make a decision when the evidence doesn't cover everything that needs to be looked at? So those will be some interesting questions or positions for people to tell us about. So we don't need to see any depth on those, just looking at, do you support it? Do you not support it? Maybe when the evidence is not presented, what do? Do you just leave it and run with it, or do something else? Now, I always suggest that people watch this Brian Class video. It's very interesting. I'll put a link in the show notes, in the description or post description. Brian Class is a person who has studied leadership, and the big question is, why do we get the wrong leaders? And he talks about some of how that happens, and he talks about other ways that it's possible to choose leaders without getting those problems coming through. So I recommend you go and have a watch of that. It's very enlightening. Now, I'd like very much if you would share the Forrest.Chat Soapbox links, the social links there for YouTube, for Facebook and for Rumble. If you want to get emails about the show, then go to Forrest.Chat/soapbox. And if you're commenting on Facebook, then when you put in a comment, just add an @highlight. And this is what that looks like. Just type the ampersand and highlight and select that item in the list. And that'll help get the message out about Forrest.Chat Soapbox. So very much appreciated if you do that. I have a target of raising about $640 in order to enable a subscription to a service that will enable more live streaming for this soapbox. So very much appreciate if you're able to assist with even a $10 or $20 donation towards that. It's $34 US a month, and that runs out about $635 a year. You can do that by PayPal to hello@Forrest.Chat, or just get in touch through hello@Forrest.Chat and we'll work out how you can do that. Thank you very much for joining me for this overview of the 2025 local government elections. I have been speaking with people in all of the electorates in the area of Forrest, and a number of people have already signed up to do interviews and answer those questions. So I look forward to that coming up this week and next. Thanks very much.